Another F around and find out time. Y'all see that? Right there.
GOP may cut off student loan forgiveness for 4.8 million healthcare workers. So the government giveth and the government taketh away. I think that people always need to be on plan A and plan B. If you think something that you can't control is the thing that you're going to peg your life on, you need a plan B because you cannot control the PSLF.
Let's shift gears. Let's get into our next topic. Real quick, actually, this is a very quick topic I want to talk about in residency and stress. So one of the best parts about podcasting over the last 9 years, almost we're getting close to 10 years next year, is being in contact with the folks who listen to the show. They keep me young. They help me think about where I was during their time, because we have residents who listen to the show. We have med students who listen to the show. And one of the residents who listens to our show just reached out to me and said that they're taking some time off. And, I'm not going to name any names or anything like that. But they ended up being in a very good situation that's very healthy for them, and also healthy for the residency program. And kudos to them. But it had me thinking about residency and stress and, where I was, close to almost 15 years ago. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Like, I did not realize that I let residency change my personality. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how much of a different person that I became during residency and even after residency. Right. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Y'all folks don't know, like, even the 80-hour work week, right, which we have right now, that is a tough thing, right? In surgery and OB, whatever specialty that you're in, it is a very tough thing. I remember my second year of residency, which at my program, the second year is mainly run the ICU. And that, when you have a program that doesn't have many residents, but you still need coverage. Yeah. That second year was, first of all, I think a lot of the administrative, the way in which we policed ourselves, we should not have been allowed to police ourselves, right? Like the way in which the person starts at a certain time at 7:00 in the morning and then will go till the next morning. And then that person writes the notes for the next day.
That didn't make no sense.
That didn't make any sense whatsoever. That was the stupidest thing. Like, I'm going to tell you something right now. Like, I didn't know better, but I kind of knew. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I get it. The person who's coming in fresh, should be writing the notes, or there should be some responsibility split between the person leaving and the person coming on. So just for context sake, if you started at 7 a.m, you didn't write the notes that morning, but you rounded with the attending and you rounded with the person who was finishing that night, right? And then for the entire day, you're taking care of, you coming in fresh, you're taking care of all the issues that are going on. You're responding to trauma calls. You're taking care of the general surgery patients that need to go to the ICU. And then at night, you're the senior in-house, right? And then there's an intern there also. And then if someone needs to go to the OR, you're calling the attending, and if the patient needs to go to the OR, it's you and the attending, and you're also handling the ICU. And then, 5:00 comes in the morning, you got to start writing notes because you are rounding at 7:00. And that shit did not make any sense to me. But, you do that over and over and over again. I think my mindset was just so focused on, I'm getting through this program. There's nothing that's going to stop me, that you start to just accept bullshit. And that right there was something that I really look back on. I'm like, man, but when you're not in control, see, this is the key thing though. When you're not in control, you kind of have to play the game to get through the game, so that when you go back, you can change it and look back and say, yo, this didn't make any sense. That's where I was. And that was a lot of stress that I had during that time. And then that carried on with me into third year, and things started to look better into fourth year and obviously into fifth year. But I definitely felt like, looking back, the one thing that I wish I could have changed was that second year rotation, because I think that it's an unnecessary stress that you put on residents to have that type of lifestyle, just so you can have coverage in the ICU because nobody else wanted to in any of the other levels. So, I before I ask you, the question I was going to ask is, have you ever felt like you needed to take time out during residency?
Oh, yeah.
I did, man. I definitely felt like it, but I wouldn't let myself I wouldn't let myself really take those thoughts seriously. I wouldn't let myself really kind of just explore it because I felt like if I did, like I would go down this rabbit hole that I wouldn't come back from, but I don't know. I wouldn't do residency again. I'll tell you that right now. I would not.
I would not. I would
Yeah.
not do residency again either.
Yeah. Cause you
You
changed.
know,
You changed big time, yo.
yeah, right. You wish I changed.
You did, yo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You definitely changed during residency. I saw
What
sides
did
of
I change?
you that I
Tell
just,
people that. Let's talk about that
you
because
were
we don't talk
just,
about this. Yeah. Like what?
you were just more,
What was I like
transactional.
before? What was I like before?
Um, you
I
were
was
more,
suave,
I mean, you were still a
suave.
pain in the butt. Don't
I
get me
was
wrong.
suave,
No, you
suave,
weren't suave. Never.
gregarious. Yeah.
Okay. You just, are you going to go down the vocabulary list of words now?
Are you shocked
Is
by that
there,
vocab though?
is there a word of the week?
Magnanimous. Magnanimous.
Is there
Yeah.
the magnanimous? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I mean, I think before I mean, you were always uptight. Don't get me wrong. You're always uptight. Yeah, when it came to your education, you were always uptight about that. But you were definitely more relaxed. Um, your first year of residency, I noticed it right away that you were on edge all the time. You were on edge all the time. There was not a time that I spoke to you in residency that I felt like you felt relaxed. There
Yeah, I
wasn't
never
a time.
relaxed. I never felt relaxed in residency.
No.
I felt like I would always get found out. I felt like mad imposter syndrome. I just never felt comfortable there.
Yeah.
Not like not like I don't explain it. Like nobody said, "Yo, you about to be out." Nobody ever said that. For me, I just never felt comfortable. I felt
Well,
like
I
I was
think
on the
that first year in particular, because you were a categorical in a program that had prelims and categoricals, that you
yeah,
were always afraid that you would have gotten downgraded. So that first year, and then the second year, when you took your in service exam, I remember that because if I don't do well on this in service exam, they're going to make me a prelim. And I don't want to do that. And it was just like, oh my God, like, what the hell is happening to like, yeah, you changed a lot in residency. You were almost unrecognizable.
yeah,
You were. But I loved you anyway, so
yeah.
dumb ass me, but whatever.
You came out nice. You came out nice, right? You got your loans paid off, right?
Yeah, a little,
You know what I'm
a
saying?
little bit of
You
mental
got that
trauma is
fat,
all right.
you got that fat rock on your finger. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
because
What you
that
complaining
makes up
about?
for everything.
Look at your lifestyle now. Look at the background. Look at what you got.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at
Okay.
that. Look at that mic you got. Come on now.
Okay.
Listen, you
It
did
was
not. You
all
did not.
worth it for the mic. Thank God.
Uh-huh.
Thank God for
Uh-huh.
the mic.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I think, you know, I think just that residency, I think residency does do things to people, takes people to dark places that they've never been before.
Is
And I
that
think
is that residency's fault or is that the person's fault? Because I struggle with that a lot where I'm like,
I
yo,
struggle
like
with that too.
I should not have let, because I'll be honest with you, like what happened, which a lot of people do, right, is you start to realize, look, the only way I could survive is like you start taking on like your captor's mentality, right? You start taking
Mm.
on the traits of your captors because you're like, yo, if they're doing this and they're surviving, I got to do that also.
Yeah,
That's
you're
not
like, I'm the
healthy.
captain now.
Look at me. Sure. I'm the captain now. What?
That's not healthy. And I definitely took that on. I wonder though, that's my fault though, right? Like,
No, so
the game is trying to finish and try to remain as true to yourself as possible, right?
I don't
That's
look
what
at
I
it
think.
as I don't look at it as fault more than I look at it more as just kind of circumstantial, right? I mean, you can't fault a person for going into a dark place, right? Because most of the time they don't even know that they're going there. I don't even think you knew you were going where you were going because whenever I said something to you, whenever I kind of tried to bring it to your attention, your response to me was, but you don't understand. You don't understand. You're not here. You don't understand. Right. And so it was like your coping mechanism to be able to essentially make it through a tough program. But I will say this, I think that residency programs don't do a good job at checking in with residents and making sure that residents, are okay. Um, I don't know if that's the residency's job to do
I was about
because
to say,
after all,
what if the resident is not okay? What is the residency supposed to do? Right? Because I'll
so
tell you,
right,
right?
which is
Because
why I said I don't know if it's their job. That's why I said I don't know if it's their job to do because after all
because
they are
patients still need to get seen.
employees. Right. They are
Patients still need to get seen.
employees. And if they're doing it for residents, then they should be doing it for everyone because, the nurses are employees, right? The maintenance workers are employees. Like they would have to check in on everyone. Now, I understand that we're a different category of employees and that we're employees and trainees. But at the same time, it's like, well, ultimately we're getting paid to be there. So does the residency program have an obligation to us to check in on our mental
What
well-being?
speaking
I
of
don't know
well-being,
the answer to that.
speaking of what happened to the chief wellness officers and all that stuff? Did I go the way of like DEI also and shit?
No, see,
Remember that?
chief wellness officers just been, there's a gym downstairs that you'll never use because you're so freaking tired. You should go walk on
Yo,
a treadmill. Like, wait,
I
what?
sniffed that
What are you
out in the
talking
beginning. I was like,
about?
yo, I'm not falling for this chief wellness officer thing. This don't make no sense to me. But anyway, let's move on.
Chief wellness officer. I'm like, you know what the chief wellness officer should be doing? Giving out mani petties. That's what they should be doing. Coming to the floor, giving out mani petties. That's what they should be doing. Rubbing on my temples. Okay. Give me a massage. Me, don't start.
What?
Inside joke. Um Giving me massage. Like, that's what they should be doing. Taking my call, taking away my pager, picking
So
up,
how does
get
somebody
my tiger text forwarded to them.
how does somebody who is struggling, how do they take the steps to let someone know that like, yo, they need help? Like
You
that's a
know,
tough one.
it's tough
How,
because I think
how about
so. I'm
this?
going to tell you.
How do you recognize that maybe you need help? Is this like one of those
So
things where people tell
that's
you
what
like, yo, bro,
that's what I was going
you
to
need help,
say.
yo?
So
Mhm.
I had a resident. I had a junior resident who we were a little bit worried about, and I spoke with her and I asked her flat out. I was like, "Do you want to be here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Because it doesn't seem like you want to be here." Now, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if she took it as a challenge or she took it as the concern that it really was, right? Because that's kind of the conundrum, right? Well, if I say no, I'm not all right, what does that mean? What's that going to
Yeah, that's like
what's the
sending
consequence?
that's like sending a medical student home early. Like,
Right.
wait, what do you mean? You should
What
I
do
take
you
this and go home early, or should I stay
exactly?
and like,
Or should I
yeah,
say, right?
yeah,
So it's like, well, so till this day, I don't know how she took it, right? But
still
the
practicing?
reason, huh? She's still practicing, yeah.
Okay.
And she's a good doc. She's a
Right,
good
right.
doc. But there, I mean, there were points, and she was a first year, but there were points at which I saw in her things that I saw in me in my first year. And other people saw it too. And it was actually other residents who asked me to speak to her. I guess because I got a big mouth. But I was like, it doesn't seem like you really
You
want to be
think?
here.
No,
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. Cause I think you asked a really good question. How do you recognize that you actually have a problem before you even tell someone? Or are you so competitive with yourself that you're like, nah, I can do this. I can do it. I'm in a dark place, but I can do it. I can do it. I
well,
can do
I
it.
figured out quick. I told you one of my resident or one of my upper levels flat out came to me. We were signing out. He's like, "Yo, did you take a shower?" And I knew because I would go several days not taking a shower, and that's not like me. But because
Right.
you
Going
get to
into
work
depression.
at 5 in the morning, and you don't leave till like 8 o'clock at night. That's an exaggeration, but you
Hmm.
probably don't leave till like and then you stay up all
Sometimes
night.
you
You're
do.
studying. You stay up all night. You studying, and then you wake up and you're like,
You
oh
pass
shit! It's
out.
like you wake up and it's like 2 minutes, 5 minutes before you're supposed to be on the highway. And you're like, oh shit, you got to and you just start doing it over and over and over again. And you're on edge. And then you realize, oh snap, I haven't taken a shower or somebody else has noticed. Right.
Hmm.
Or like, I remember getting a phone, my mom tried to reach me in the OR. Nurses picked up the phone and my mom is mad apologetic because I guess I've been snapping. Didn't realize this, right? You start to realize, yo, you've got a problem. So, it's just, yeah, I think it's okay to say that sometimes residency got you acting a way that is highly abnormal and that you may need to
Yeah.
check in and get some help, whether that's seeing a therapist, whether that's talking to a loved one, whether that's talking to a trusted one. I don't know if you can even talk to someone in your residency, if that's possible, because that's scary, right? You think that might be used against you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or that person invalidates, right? Because they themselves have not recognized that within themselves. They might invalidate. Like, what you mean? Like, yo, you gotta just come on, you just gotta do it. But I will say this: if someone approaches you, take what is it, the olive branch? It's not really olive branch, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're not good at
Take
colloquialisms.
No, you're not good at colloquialisms, but heed the warning, essentially, right? Heed the warning.
Take a shower.
Take a shower. If someone comes to you, if someone
You know how
comes to you,
embarrassing that is, yo? Like, yo, we be like, man, you
well,
ain't
but
take a shower.
it's not embarrassing though. It's not. It's not embarrassing, right? You know me. I say so. The way that I approach a lot of things about you in our marriage is
Well, you've
that
never had to tell me that I didn't take a shower because I take showers.
I'm not talking about taking a shower, Nee. I'm
Oh,
talking
what are we talking about?
about
What are we talking about?
just human interaction in general. When someone, says something to you that's a little off kilter, is that
Okay.
you have to, when you recognize that someone is off kilter, right? Or if someone says something to you that you're like, wait, what? There's got to be the understanding that there is concern more than there is anger behind what is being said,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? So I have to be, if you start acting crazy in this house, I can't just, I don't know why Nee is, blah, blah, whatever. I don't know why he's doing that. Why he don't pay those bills? Why is he out all night? Why is he, just
Y'all
acting
see how she talked
strange?
financial immediately, though, right?
Yes, I
Financial.
did. But if you start, if I notice that there are things about you that you're just not doing, like, oh, he didn't take care of the car like he usually does. Oh, X, Y, and Z. I have to start being concerned about you
Oh, he
more
won't get his
so.
car fixed. He driving with the passenger what was it? The passenger window is just y'all. I can't be
The
telling too
side
much of
mirror,
myself. I'm not
the
talking about
side
this because
mirror.
people are gonna be like, yo,
Yeah.
you was depressed in residency. I'm not saying shit.
I'm sure
No,
you were. I'm
no.
actually sure. I'm actually very sure that you were depressed in residency. But you have to be more concerned about somebody than you are angry with them. And I think that that's really important, because it allows you to give a person some grace. And if the person who's receiving that understands that when you approach them about that thing, that they are actually more concerned about you than they are upset with you, then it might be a little bit easier for that person to recognize in themselves that, hey, I'm going down a dark, path. I'm going in a deep, dark place.
Yo,
That was your
it's hard to
problem,
say.
was that
It's hard to
you
accept.
never,
It's hard to accept
you,
when
you didn't
when you in a
accept
sea of
that.
sharks. When you in a sea of sharks, it's hard to accept. I'm for real.
Right.
You know my personality, where I come from, and all that stuff. It's kill or be killed. So for me, it's like I made it too far to get killed. So I was just like, look, whatever y'all say, I'm gonna make it. You know, but you don't realize that it's changing you. So I think that definitely some malignant, behavior that occurred and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm glad that you stuck with me because I can't front. Like I did change and I became mad annoying to deal with and so forth. On the real, I became mad annoying to deal with and stuff. Even though I was fine, you know what I'm saying? Like in the
What?
inside, I was on the,
What?
even though I was fine. Look at this. You think I wake up like this? This takes work. I was fine.
Oh, okay. I was
You know what I'm
about to
saying?
say, yeah, a whole lot of work.
Even though
You
I'm,
gotta
I'm
go.
fine.
You gotta go to work on Myra's feet. Hit
That's
it,
right.
Alfred.
You gotta go to work on Myra's feet.
Even though I'm fine, I think inside, like I was struggling and stuff. And I think that, in a
You
situation where
fine.
particularly, see, this is the part when when someone is trying to give you advice in the program, like you don't even know if they're like trying to get at you, if they trying to snipe at you, or if they,
Right.
like you said, giving the proverbial olive branch because you feel like, yo, you in a sea of sharks, right? Like you feel like
Yeah.
I'm in the lion's den and you're not gonna knock me out. You know what I'm saying? So it's really tough to accept those things. And
Yeah.
I just wanted and then we probably should end the show on this end because I know there was other things that we wanted to talk about. But before we go down and make the show too long, to the resident who reached out to me, I heard you. I appreciate you sharing that. And sometimes you just got to take a mental break. Shout out to the programs that are out there that are giving the
Mhm.
students and the residents the space to kind of say this stuff because, a lot of times you're going to have to make an uncomfortable change, right? In order to see effective change in your program, right? A
Mhm.
lot of people are going to have to
Mhm.
get uncomfortable with maybe they have to take an additional call to allow their
Mhm.
fellow resident to take time away that they need so that when they come back stronger, right? That's the
Right.
type of change that people talk about and say, well, our healthcare system is broken, but then you don't have the time, you don't have the patience to deal with the inconvenience to deal
Mhm.
with the healthcare system changing, right? If you want it to change, there's going to have to be some inconvenience. There's going to have to be some pain that comes with that. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I will say about that is, let us not underestimate that if one resident is feeling that way, that potentially more residents are feeling that way in the same program. And so, when you do end up giving the other residents that extra call, you might be snowballing the effect as a program. So I'm hoping that those programs actually find a different solution than to pile on to the other residents who are remaining.
Well,
Because
I mean, at this point, it's like, stop being exclusionary with shit. Y'all need to accept more residents. Simple as that. So I think that's the easiest problem.
I mean, yeah, that is the
We got
easiest
we
part.
we
Yeah,
got a doctor shortage. We got a doctor shortage.
right.
You got
And
mad med
we got a
schools.
bottleneck. We got
You
a
got mad med
bottleneck.
schools going on right
Yeah,
now, and
yeah,
obviously this is from a federal government level. Like there needs to be
right.
more funding for
Yeah.
residencies to be out there, but you can't be
Or
like
hire
having
locums. I'll
residencies.
be a resident for locums.
You crazy as hell. Would you do that? Hell no, I
Hell
ain't
yeah.
doing that.
Hell yeah, I
Hell
would.
nah. Well,
I
if you
charge
actually
like
think about it,
crazy, but yeah, I do it.
like the question is, would you be cool with like taking orders from people? I'll take orders from people too for like a certain amount for like 150 an
For
hour.
what?
I'd do it. Yeah.
For what?
200 an
You know what
hour.
I'm saying? 200 an hour. You don't make 200 an hour now. Wait,
The
way
residents
more than that.
residents are gonna look at you like, yo, I only make like 50 G's, yo. You making how much?
Nah, man. Listen, let me tell you something. If I had to do locums in residence, like as a resident again, like, yo, it would definitely be more per hour than what I charge now. Definitely. Okay. I'm like, you gonna make me go through that pain again? It's gonna cost you. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope.
All right, y'all. Yo, thanks for listening to Docs Outside the Box. Everybody who writes in lets us know how you feel. Let us know how you feel in the show notes. You can send us emails. You can send us text messages. Everything is in the show notes. Everything is in the show description if you want to get in touch with us. But once again, thank you again for listening to Docs Outside the Box. Let's let Dr. Renee get that sleep. Go get your sleep on. And
Tired.
yo,
So
we're going to
tired.
catch you guys in another episode, y'all.
Good night.
Peace, y'all.